Yep, had to go get the trusty glasses, man, because if we're gonna be milling metal, we gotta make sure that there you go. No brand names, you know how it is. Yeah, we're gonna be using a very sharp bit. You gotta make sure to have proper eye protection. Yeah, modifying that oil channel. Yeah. Oh, it's getting there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep, it's getting there. Yep, yep. Okay, so we're back. Yes, sir, to that big 494. Yep. So anyways, we go back over here. And everything is just about prepped, done, and ready to go. So yeah, can't forget about that sucker. Always check. Always check. And we're back. Yes, sir. Let's see what we got going on. Hell yeah, bud. Yep. The thrust bearings have been shaped for proper clearance. Got the cam gear mounted, and boom. Yeah, buddy. Woo-hoo. Nice and smooth. Yep, got proper clearance on the lifter. Yeah, first, now this bearing right here, so if you look at it, look down in there, and that mug is perfectly aligned with that oil port up front. Yep, so just make sure that mug's marked and ready to drop onto that crank. Yep, on to the next one. Yippers. Yeah, buddy. Uh-huh. Alien block number 2. On its way. Alright, so now we're back to this Jasper. As you can see, after miking the bearing port where the oil is supposed to feed that channel, we're off a little bit. So we gotta put that quarter moon in that bad boy to line up with this Jasper. Yes, sir. Right there. That's right. So we'll get back to you here shortly. Yeah, buddy. Pew. Yeah, buddy. Alright, now I got that mug back in, marked. Everything was measured for the oil ports for the main bearings. That's right, on that crank. You don't want to be messing around when you put that stroker crank in there. Yeah, buddy. Alright, like I was saying, now back to the engine case. We go down to right here. Alright. Pow. Okay. And that's where that cam gear was rubbing. So you gotta take off 3.5 millimeter. Okay, plug all those oil journals up, and as you're milling that down, take and run the vacuum right here. Yep, stick that nozzle right down in there as you're taking off that lip so the cam gear's not hitting. It's got to ride through that Jasper all the way. And yeah, you'll be good to go. Just take your time, my man. Till next time. Hell yeah, bud. Yep, the thrust bearings have been shaped for proper clearance. Got the cam gear mounted, and boom. Yeah, buddy. Woo-hoo. Nice and smooth. Yeah, bud. So after getting that mug done and set in, yep, got that oil port all notched out. Yeah. Then we move on to the next one. Yes, sir. We set that mug in. We mark off the oil port. And we'll pull that mug off. And we'll mic and see what we gotta take off there. And like I said, the front one's already done. It's on the money. And we'll be moving back to this mug. Yep. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. We'll be getting there. Mm-hmm. All right, man. So the alien block has been finished, and it's done. Yeah, being prepped. Yes, sir. It is ready for marriage with the cam and the crank, which I'm getting ready to assemble next. So yeah, man, that's all done and ready. Woo! Yippers. So whenever you're doing any milling, make sure all your oil ports are plugged up with little rubber Jaspers. Don't forget to tape off. Yep, your pressure relief piston down there. That way no shavings get down in your oil ports. And after you make sure all your oil ports are cleaned and vacuum them out, you're good to go. Almost time for assembling. Alright, so back to this side of the casing again. Well, let's see. Let's see, we'll keep this mug rolling here. We're gonna go like this. Alright, so, boom, as I was saying, if you go down and you go to clear this part right there. Yep. That is where the cam gear was hitting. So, never assume that your case is going to be right. So, you take all those rubber plugs, you plug off all your oil ports and journals, and then you have to take that down to match the ride of the gear. Follow it all the way through. Yes, sir. And of course, doing those double thrust bearings, you have to shave those down as well accordingly to get the proper gap and end play in your cam gear and your shaft. Alright, my man. So, till next time. Ciao. Alright, we're going to schlep here a little bit. So we're going to jump forward to the type of head that you want to use. Even though I'm building a 94 millimeter oversized, all large block, you gotta have something to push them pistons, right? So what I went was with the EMPI, dual spring, ported head, and as you know, depending on what you want to utilize that engine block for to push your car around, what have you, will determine the size valve you use. So do your homework and select, and yeah, until next time, you know. Hell yeah, brothers. You know it. See ya. Okay, good morning. So, just because the bearing boxes say they're engineered, do not assume they're ready to go right out of the box, because I guarantee you they're not. As you can see with the main bearings for the crank. I got to go back to the double thrust bearings for the cam. They did not fit either. So what I actually had to do is take a brand new file, make sure it's nice and clean, clamp that bad boy down, and then slowly work them back and forth, one at a time on each side, to make sure that you get a good proper clearance, because you want that cam to float and have the proper end play, okay? Because otherwise, if you try to force that down in there, it's just going to create problems, and that's something you don't want later on after taking all your time to make that motor. So yes, always double check everything. Make sure you have your trusty mic tool, mic everything, and never assume that it is engineered properly right out of the box, because they're not. I'm not going to say who's who, what's what, and where I got them. Just double check. You all have a great day. Another day in Zigzag Shop. See ya. Hell yeah, bud. Yep. The thrust bearings have been shaped for proper clearance. Got the cam gear mounted, and boom. Yeah, buddy. Woo-hoo. Nice and smooth. Yep, got proper clearance on the lifters. Sir, back to the double thrust rear bearing, and yep, perfect quarter moon to feed that rear channel. Yes, sir. You gotta go back. Yes, sir. And always double check and mic your everything. All right. See you later, Scooby-Doo. Yes, sir. That's right. Now all them bearings are done, ready to go. On to the next, which will actually be assembling the bottom end of that crank. Yep. I gotta get the gears and everything up on that bad boy. Yep. So till then, next chapter. Woohoo! Hell yeah, bud. Yep. The thrust bearings have been shaped for proper clearance. Got the cam gear mounted, and boom. Yeah, buddy. Woo-hoo. Nice and smooth. Yep, got proper clearance on the lifters. Yep. Which is a minimum of 70 thousandths. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Cam is done. Woo! Hell yeah. Yes, sir. Alright, after putting that bad boy in, marking off, double checking the measurements and miking everything off. But you gotta have a micometer, you know. And yeah, bud, so that's one down. Ooh. Yeah, so of course, I had to mark each bearing for the oil journal port, which you can see is right there. Yep. After marking each journal port, you go through with the trusty mic tool, and then you mic it, and you'll see how far that sucker's off. So then you have to take old trusty Dremel here with this really nice bit here. Let's see if I can get that focused. There we go. Yep. Got a high-speed Dremel with the wand. Works really great because I actually use that for tattooing metal. Yeah, pretty cool. And you know, take care of them bearings, and also spots on the motor that need to be cleared off because of the casting has left crap behind that you don't want. So always double check your case 10 times over. Yes, sir. That's right, man. Old zigzag until next time, people. We'll see you then. Woohoo! Man, it's a horrible thing. You can't find your eyeballs. I know I got my granny specs down here somewhere. And look, they've got to be right in front of my face. And I can't find them. That's crazy, man. I gotta have my granny specs. I'll be back. Alright, so all joking aside, this 94 millimeter big bore engine block has been used to mark everything up and is ready to go. Even inked out the numbers on there. And then of course with my medallion alien block. Yep. Everything has been set up. Got the last coat of VHT heat temperature clear on there. And yeah, it's ready to be assembled. Last thing I have to do is actually set up the crank with the main rods, and I will get to that next. Alright, peace. Yes, sir. I just put that high temp clear on top of that lime gold. Yes, sir. That's going to be the final coat on there. Yeah, buddy. Even inked out the stamps for the caster and inspector. Yes, sir. Yeah, it will shine that color for the rest of its days. Outlast me. Yes, sir. And after going through, checking it, taking out that quarter moon, yeah, we're all good to go with that one. Ooh. Yes, sir. Yep. Now we gotta move to the double thrust in the back. Okay, good morning. I need to step back for a minute just because the bearing boxes say they're engineered. Do not assume that they're ready to go, because they're not. I guarantee you that. You saw what I had to do for the main bearings for the crank, so I have to go back and kind of show you the double thrust bearings for the cam. Okay, so they did not fit. So what you have to do, well, what I did is actually I took, let's redo this. So yeah, this is a Auto Linea block, the equivalent of the EMPI Big Bore 94. This is an all aluminum block that's even been casted for the reinforced back cylinder wall. Yes, sir. All the oil journals have been updated, upsized, you name it. Everything has been built for max performance. This bad boy should be a thumper. Yes, sir. Not like that old school block I did with the 17 millimeter. Well, you know. 76 millimeter crank, yeah, that's the way it goes. You know. Hey, yep, gotta go. Next time. There we go. So now each one of the bearings have actually been ported out, yeah, to fit the oil journals now. Yeah, they've been marked and cleared out. They've been milled. A half moon, mic it out to the size of each oil port to feed those journals, properly oiling the bearings. There you go. Yeah, man, so I was doing that oil port. There we go. I actually ended up tattooing the SCAT logo onto that. So I was doing that for a while, doing some custom engraving on Harleys. It was pretty cool. Made some good money doing it. It paid for all the tools and bits. Yeah, buddy, so each quarter moon has been taken out to feed the oil journals. Yes, sir, man. Pow! For each bearing on that stroker crank. Definitely want to make sure you get proper oil feed to all bearings. Do not chintz out. Do it right. Take your time. It'll be all good, man.